It's Archive Week!
Which means I'm sitting down with the author of the Star Wars Archives, Paul Duncan, and later we're headed to the actual archives to look at more priceless screen-use props.
So if you're watching at home, you'll need protective gloves if you want to skip ahead. It's not my rules, it's Madeline.
This is the Star Wars Show! From the Lucasfilm headquarters in San Francisco, here's your hosts, Andy and Anthony!
Hello and welcome to the Star Wars Show, the only Star Wars show on the internet that just looked at a calendar and realized that Star Wars Celebration is 8 days away.
8 days?
8 days!
Let's go to the news, shall we? As we mentioned a moment ago, Star Wars Celebration Chicago is only 8 days away. But that doesn't mean you can't already start shopping for exclusive Star Wars Celebration merchandise.
That's right, this year you can order your SWCC merch ahead of time and then have it waiting for you in Chicago.
What a time to be alive!
But what kind of merchandise?
Oh, you came to the right show. Because if there's one thing the Star Wars show is good at, it's shilling products with Star Wars on them.
Products like button-up short sleeve shirts in a variety of styles and colors.
I'll take 9 Landos, please.
And if you want a shirt with longer sleeves and no buttons, you can pick up some Spirit jerseys so you can represent your light, dark, or neutral side.
And don't forget about the pants and jackets.
How could I?
But there's so much more, like adorable plush toys and puppets.
Kids love them.
And pins, pins, pins.
This year we even have pins that can spell out words.
Come to the Star Wars show live stage wearing an Akbar 9-Nub Dengar and cheer at Imwe to spell out Andy, and I might give you a high five.
Buy 2 whole sets to spell out Anthony, and the Celebration store will give you a high five.
Plus, they've got blankets, planters, homeware, shoes, lanyards, and much, much more.
For a complete list of products and details on how to pre-order the items, check out starwars.com/SWS.
The Webby Award nominations are out, and the StarWars.com team has landed 5 nominations and 1 honoree. The nominees are Arrested Development Star Wars with Ron Howard for video remixes mashups, as well as 2 nominations for the Star Wars show for video, variety, and social, television, and film. Also nominated was our red carpet coverage of Solo, a Star Wars story for video, events, and live streams, and StarWars.com landing a nomination for websites, movie, and film, as well as an honoree for best user experience. You can vote for all of the nominees right now, and voting lasts until April 18th, so vote early and vote often. And for more breaking news from around the galaxy, check out StarWars.com.
8 days!
That's this many.
Nailed it. We're back in the secret underground lair of Madeline. We're going to take a look at some artifacts from Solo and Rogue One, the Star Wars stories. Show me how to operate a bowcaster, and by show me, I mean I'll pick it up and you lead me through the bowcaster.
Actually, this is Chirrut Imwe's light bow. This version is what we call our interactive light bow.
Well, that's hefty,
There's some very serious mechanics. And
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Let's do that again.
No, that was perfect.
That's great. We're not
That was
doing it again.
great.
This one actually opens and closes.
And I don't think there's ever a point where you get to see just all the different little filigree and line work. It's really beautiful.
And he couldn't even see it.
Also from Rogue One, we have a couple of items from Jyn Erso's disguise costume. This is her chest and back armor. We call this combined piece a cuirass. And in this particular case, her back plate actually functions as a mount for her weapons using magnets so that in order to very quickly access her weapons, the magnet pops right off.
They're solid.
They're solid.
solid.
You could do some damage with these things.
This is Jyn Erso's kyber crystal necklace that was gifted to her by her mother, Lyra. This particular piece is molded and cast out of resin, and there's also etched Aurebesh carved into it. It says, "Trust in the Force." This is one of Kira's costumes.
Got great jacket, Gabe.
Star Wars is 87% great jacket game.
Some of the things that make her costume kind of special and elegant is that her jewelry is really made out of sterling silver. She has earrings, she has a cuff bracelet. This is Beckett's rifle that he gifts to Han Solo. Parts of it that detach eventually fall away to reveal what we know and love as Han Solo's DL-44 blaster. This particular one is an interactive rifle, so parts do remove because of movie magic. What it may do in real life may not match exactly how you wanted it to be seen on screen.
So it does pull apart, but it's not meant to like pull apart quickly as a real weapon.
These are Kira's blasters. This is her hero version.
And I love it because it's just such an Art Deco, old school femme fatale detective film noir blaster. It's so good.
So this one actually opens up as if you are going to reload her particular weapon. There's also separate pieces that are her ammunition that she keeps on her belt if she should need to reload.
Madeline, thank you once again for showing off some of these amazing treasures here in your underground bunker.
You know, if you need any help, like arranging things or hanging armor on bodies,
Storing things.
give us a call. You know where we are.
We're here for you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Say hello hello to Paul Duncan, author of the Star Wars Archives, which is just like a massive treasure trove of incredible information. Well done.
Thank you.
You're first and foremost a film historian. Can you talk to me a little bit about the importance of documenting filmmaking and the behind-the-scenes stories that go into these sagas and franchises?
I grew up 15, saw Star Wars, and I just adored all these, and I wanted to find out more. So I would make my own magazines and comics and all sorts of things to tell people about my enthusiasm. So for me, that's always been what it's been about. It's to share the things that I love. I discover things that people have forgotten, and it's an important history that I want to tell people about.
It's like modern day archaeology.
I think I'm sort of like Indiana Jones between the adventures. Do you know when he goes into those dusty old places and just goes like
sifts through everything.
Yeah.
It's interesting because there's a lot of opinions in the fandom and a lot of
Sure.
ideas of how this all went down and what the intent really was. But here you're actually hearing it from George's mouth, from the people who were there.
On this, for the first year, it was pure bliss. But then the terror starts to set in because there have been so many other great books being published already, and I needed to find a way of making a book that would be different in some way. And then it suddenly dawned on me what I was really interested in was George and his creative process. I really wanted to ask George why.
Right.
You know, the who, what, where, when. It's very easy to find in all the documents and publicity and interviews, etc. But the why was really difficult.
So were there any things that you came across or anything that you learned in making this book that surprised you or had a deep impact on you?
What's interesting about doing this is that George really knows in his head specifically what he wants to do in terms of the philosophy of the stories. And all the characters and the plot for him are interchangeable. You can cut this character, you can add that character, you can cut this event. In a way, they don't matter as long as they service the inner philosophy that he's trying to show. And that I found fascinating.
How would you want fans of Star Wars who read this book to look at their next viewing of Star Wars?
I have no idea how people are going to respond to this book. But what I hope is that they see George perhaps in a new light. They see somebody who's actually thinking very deeply about his work. What I thought was great was that he has a great sense of humour.
He's funny.
He's really understated. And I wanted to include that in the book because that's what he's like.
Yeah.
And that's an aspect of George that I wanted to include in the book. It's always a discovery process, not only for what's there, but what the story is. It sounds strange, bizarre, weird, but every time I go into an archive, the archive will tell me what the story is. Whether that's just me being bizarre or intuitive, but that's always seems to be the way it is. You just got to be one with the archive and then let it tell you what the story is going to be.
Well, I love this story. And you did a really awesome job with the book.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. It's really great.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
You're watching the Star Wars show.
Hey, did you know Star Wars celebrations in 8 days?
Which also means in a little over a week from now, we will be broadcasting from Star Wars Celebration Chicago during the Star Wars Show Live.
And as it turns out, there's a lot you guys want to see us do.
Oklahoma Jedi wants us to interview Aaron Kellyman.
We do too. Noted.
Jess Loves Pizza wants us to interview Ahmed Best.
Also noted.
Brian Sims wants every day to end with a delivery of Chicago food to the stage. I concur.
Sure.
Michael Nip wants us to shove plush porgs into a t-shirt cannon. And the Taco Jedi wants us to talk prequel memes with Hayden Christensen.
All of those are great ideas, and all of them have a high percentage of a chance of happening.
But how will you know which ones do?
Well, you'll have to tune into the Star Wars Show Live from Friday, April 12th to Monday, April 15th to find out.
But in the meantime, you can still like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And if you see us on the streets, please do not remind us how many days we have left until celebration. 8 days.
Anthony, stop it!
Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.
There's so much to do.
I opened up my bag and all I had packed was just a bunch of porgs of varying sizes.
Don't lie to me.
Can I have space in your bag for clothes?
It's porgs. It's porgs.